Hi everyone, good morning. My special guest for today is Jade, and I'll have Jade introduce herself. So, Jade is one of my colleagues. So, Jade, can you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jade Lopez. I've worked at Providence Public Library with Emily for almost 4 years now. I started as a specialist in the department, same department as Emily, and now I'm a librarian. I just finished library school 2 weeks ago, so it feels pretty good.
Yeah, and that's a big shout out to Jade. She just finished being a librarian, and so congratulations to her.
Thank
She works so hard, and aside from that, she is one of the smart ones.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Jade, first of all, thank you for saying yes for this interview. And kids, like with Shirley and same as Jade, if you guys have questions, we'll try our best, my best, to send it to Jade and have Jade answer your questions. And she's pretty good at it, since now she's the newest librarian, so bring in all the questions. And she'll say, bring it on.
Sure, bring it on.
So, Jade, do you love to read?
I do like to read. I wish I read more than I do now. Now that I'm done with school, I want to get back into it. I did a lot of reading for school, which is not as fun as reading for fun. But there is a lot more. I do find reading to be very important, and there's a lot of things that I'm interested in reading now that I'm done with school.
Okay, so we're gonna go back further. Okay, so we're doing a rewind.
Sure.
So, when you were little, when did you remember when was the first time you started reading, or did you ever love to read from that time? Or
Yes, as a kid, I loved reading a lot. I think the first time that I remember reading is actually I think I must have started reading before I even started school, because I remember in kindergarten when I first came into the classroom,
Cool.
one of the first things I did was pick up a book and just start reading it. So my mom did a lot of work when I was before I started school, teaching me numbers, my ABCs, and basics of reading, so that by the time I got into school, it was easy for me to learn how to read.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is really cool. So, did your mom read to you, or you just read it by yourself?
She read with us, so we did a lot of when I was growing up in Jehovah's Witnesses, so we did a lot of studies.
Okay.
We did a lot of reading of they had a book of Bible stories for kids, and so she would read us those things, but sometimes she would just read us small kids books too. But I think the most of the stuff that I read was mostly religious stuff up until I started public school.
Okay, so what's one of the books that's did any books stand out to you, or do you have a favorite, and why?
From when my mom used to read to me, or just in
Yes,
general as a
or-
kid?
Yeah, you could give one, from the time your mom read to you, and the one that you probably decided to read by yourself in general, something
Yeah.
like that.
I can't remember any specifically that was my favorite that my mom read to me as a kid, but I do remember when I was growing up, when I was already in school, one of my favorite kids' books. I liked two series, and they were both silly, so I really like silly stuff. Captain Underpants,
Oh, that's
which
a
is
good
where my
one.
love for potty humor started.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
Amelia Bedelia. I don't know if you've read those books, but she's so silly. She always mixes up things that if somebody says oh, make a date cake for me. Instead of using the fruits dates, she cut up a calendar and put in the paper into the cake mix.
Oh,
So she
that's
does things like that all the time, and she's funny. So I really liked her books a lot growing up.
Okay, so one of the things I wanted to ask you, did you have a favorite character when you were growing up? A cartoon character, not probably a cartoon character, or a superhero,
Yes.
someone,
Yes, growing up, I really, really loved watching Saturday morning cartoons, especially I would wake up at 6 in the morning just to watch Spider-Man and X-Men in the
Wow.
morning, and those were my favorite cartoons to watch growing up.
Okay, is there a reason? I know you mentioned Spider-Man. Is there a reason why you like Spider-Man, or is there a time you wanted to be like, I want to be a Spider-Woman, I want to be a superhero?
I did want to be a superhero, mostly from watching X-Men, but Spider-Man, I guess I always really liked that he was just like a smart, nerdy, funny guy, and I think that's part of it too, is that he always has that humor, right? Some of the comic book heroes are too serious, some are just very serious people and they don't laugh and make jokes, but Peter Parker always makes like these kind of silly jokes, and he has a bunch of silly bad guys that are always like, I'm gonna squash you like a bug. So those things are always fun. I really liked Spider-Man a lot.
Okay, did you ever think of being a Spider-Woman, or they should come up with a Spider-Woman thing?
Never Spider-Woman, but I always wanted to be kind of like Jean Grey in the X-Men. I thought she had the coolest powers. Yeah.
So in the X-Men with Jean Grey, she became the Phoenix, right?
Yes.
So I guess, so now let's go to, this is one thing kind of different. Is there a particular animal that you like? Or, speaking of Jean Grey being a Phoenix, something like that.
For animals, I like so many of them. It's kind of hard to pick my favorite. Some of my top favorite animals are monkeys. Piggies, I love piggies, they're so cute. Elephants, I really love elephants, they're so smart. The female elephants are the keepers of memory for their whole group. So like they carry all of the memories, all of the historic knowledge of the like elephant family is always with the lead woman, the matriarch. And so I always think those things are so fascinating to learn about animals. There's just a lot of animals. I could probably talk a lot about different animals that I think are great.
Could you believe it that one of my favorites is elephant as well, and I collect elephants, but that's something I did learn when it comes to the elephants, and thank you for that.
Oh, yeah.
And then one of the things I wanted to ask you is that when you were out, do you remember, let's back up a little bit, did you remember what you wanted to be when you were growing up? Like, did you ever picture you wanted to be a librarian or something else? Or what did you have done working in the past that you like? Or
when I was younger, when I really started thinking about what I wanted to do for work, I really wanted to be a pastry chef. I liked seeing a lot of the cooking shows and like competition shows where like these people would make these beautiful cakes and like desserts, but they would like sculpt them into art, like it was really cool to see what people can do with food and with cake. So I was like, you know what, I kind of want to do that. But they made us when I was in high school, I had to do research on a career for myself. And so I did research on pastry chefs and realized that there's a lot of chemistry, which I was not good at, and then a lot of math because you have to measure and all these things. And I was like, yeah, that seems like a lot of work for me. So it ended up not working out, but I never imagined that I would, when I was younger, I never imagined I would end up in libraries or working as a librarian, but I'm actually, I don't know, I think in a sense, like where my life has taken me and everything that I've experienced through schooling and just my experiences growing up, I think in some way it kind of makes sense that I ended up here. But I never saw it coming. So I'm kind of glad. It's like a kind of a pleasant surprise that I'm a librarian.
Yeah, which is really, I'm not joking. Jade is one of our best. I know she's just newly graduated as a librarian, but she was working with it, for a while, right? For, like she said, she mentioned, like, even she started as a specialist with us for like 2 years ago. 3,
Yeah.
It will be 3 now. She really did a good job and she's very, very nice. So with you kids, again, if you have questions for Jade and if you're thinking how to be a librarian, she can help you with that one. Not your homework, okay? So, and not your reports. Don't let her make your reports. Don't even go to IA or AI, artificial intelligence.
Please don't go to AI. Please.
So
no.
you can go to JL, Jade Lopez, not J-Lo, okay? So, Anyway, guys, thank you for, again, Jade, thank you so much for the privilege of your time. And hopefully, this will be not the last one with us talking to Jade. So send in your questions. She'll be happy to answer you. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll hope to see you again sometime. Okay, bye.
Bye.